Good morning. This is Don Clark with FileMakerProGurus.com and FM Database Consulting. And we're doing a redo, a remake, a second time, redux, whatever you want to call it. Today we're going to be going over Daniel Shanahan's inventory resources and things like that we did on Tuesday. But on Tuesday we had a problem with feedback. We didn't know it. We were doing it live. And all of his voice was echoey, really echoey. So I spent some time researching it, got these little earplugs in here without a microphone. That turned out to be the issue. It was picking up the mic on my computer, so I had to block it out. Here we are. So Daniel Shanahan, New Leaf Data. Hello, how are you this morning?
Hi, Don. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to have you back again. Everybody got to hear me, but not you the other day when we were sharing something. So now we got a little bit better with what's going on. I'm excited about having your stuff on here because you have the best inventory resources for connecting with FileMaker of anybody on the web, and people need to know about it because almost every business solution has some kind of inventory, and the challenges that you have with inventory, because there's so many different things, and I'm going to let you go into that, can boggle the mind, and you won't even know what questions to ask unless you can study stuff like what you have to offer. So why don't you take it over here real quick, and I'm going to pull up your website. The first one we're going to visit is FileMaker Inventory Resources.
Yes.
And it's up to you now.
Yeah, so thanks, Don. And I really appreciate doing this again. This is really nice of you to do that. This FileMaker Inventory Resources is the first site that I created when I was trying to understand inventory management on the FileMaker platform and get the concepts around my head, and then write about them. You know, once you start to tell people about something, then it forces me to clarify my thinking about it. And so that's what this is, FileMaker Inventory Resources. And the audience for this really is for the business owner who, you know, FileMaker is this really unique platform that there's this professional side where people like you and me make our living on it, but there's also business owners who have small or medium businesses, and they have either used FileMaker before or heard about it, and it's really a nice platform to get your feet wet and start to build your own apps. And so the FileMaker Inventory Resources is primarily geared toward those people to help the business owner take a look at what their inventory is, and then how do you make sense of this in the FileMaker platform. A secondary audience I have for that would be people in the FileMaker community who, for whatever reason, have done a number of projects, but they haven't done the inventory project. They may have done a CRM, CRMs are very popular, or they may have done education or scheduling kind of things. And so for those people who are professional developers and they're not familiar with inventory, then this would be a site. This is really the site that I wanted when I started building inventory management. I was looking for books and I was looking for websites because I knew there were people out there who had this knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't seen anybody disseminate the knowledge. And so that's what I decided to do with this site.
So on this website, what you have here is a bunch of articles on different types of processes, receiving, bill of materials, kitting, all that kind of stuff. And then a little further down, here we go. Here's some more articles, just a wealth of information. Then we get to the good stuff. Right here. Inventory resources. Here's some data, some FileMaker databases you put together, example databases. They're free.
Right. That's right.
And there's a bunch of good ones here, by the way.
That's right. These are various demo files, and they are snippets. You can think of them as snippets. So on this demo file, if, for example, on that variant demo file, if you're trying a variant, if anybody doesn't know, a variant, if you think about shirts, The shirt might have a collar or no collar. It might be long sleeve or short sleeve. It might be red or blue or green. Might have buttons, no buttons. All of those are variants.
And different sizes.
And different sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And so this variant demo works with just the variants. Doesn't work with anything else. It just has, so it's a little snapshot.
Yeah.
It's not asking about sales orders or purchase orders or inventory transactions, none of that. It's just this little snippet, this little demo file on variants. And that's how all of these demo files are, to help the user get his or her head around one way of doing something like this. And that's what I try and emphasize that. These are examples of one way of doing it. There's no, I don't know. There's lots of different ways, and I'm just.
Oh, there's always this. In fact, some of your demos have more than one way in them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so just easy ways, for example, to pull up a file and link to it. So when you're on the invoice page, you can pull up the inventory line items on the side, hidden off to the side. Make a link with a global field, pull up that record, adjust the quantities, and then erase that global field, and it breaks the link. So you're making links on the fly, and of course the program, scripting, is doing this because you're telling it, and it's all invisible to the user, but it's a wonderful way to easily pull stuff in and out for a developer. I think it's a great way to do things. So that's just one small example of what you got going on here with this, and there's a lot of variations in inventory. If if you've never even thought about inventory valuation for your clients, that's something they're probably going to ask you. They might want to do something called FIFO, which is first in, first out, LIFO, which is last in, first out, average pricing, periodic. And if you've never even heard of these things, then you're going to be caught a little bit flat-footed. But you can learn all this stuff, a lot of this stuff at any rate, from your website. And from your more advanced stuff that you do. This is the free stuff that you have here, and all the free articles that you have. You set a really good base here to, sometimes it's almost like let people know, you know what, I'm a little bit over my head. I need just a little bit more. I need something better.
This site is really meant to say, I have this one thing, I just want to research this one thing.
Right.
And here's a place where they can find it, and possibly a demo file to help them out. But as you mentioned with the item valuation, I had soon after I was, I had collected these articles and wrote these articles. Then I started to, at the same time, have other things in my mind to say, well, I really want to go deeper into some other topics. For example, into inventory transactions. I wanted to go deeper than just what an article would allow. And my latest one is item valuation. I really wanted to do a deep dive into that, and the articles weren't really a great place for that. And so what I did is I've created coursework, and that's on this other site that I have called FM Inventory Starter.
Well, let's take a look at that.
And that comes with a free file. It's really kind of a skeleton file. And that's the FM Inventory Starter.
Right here.
It has really almost all the tables that anybody would need, almost all the fields. It has several layouts that what they would need from the desktop perspective, not the mobile perspective. But what it doesn't have, it's very, very light in the scripting department. And that's on purpose, because most of your business logic is going to be in scripting. And I did not want to presume to know somebody else's business logic. And so
there's a good reason for that, because business logic can vary from even within the same industry and the same type within different firms.
That's right.
Business logic has to do with what's important to them within bounds. I mean, there's certain things have to get done, like you have to deduct inventory.
That's right.
When you sell it.
Right.
But nevertheless, how their processes get to be there and their logic and the steps they take to get to that point, completely different.
I have found that there is so much variety. First of all, it seems to me that it would be hard to have just a blanket solution, because we don't know if this person is a manufacturer or a distributor. If they're a distributor, do they have kits or bundles? Is it maybe it's a warehousing place, or maybe they're trying to do asset management. Maybe it's a point of sale. So there's these different types of inventory management, and I didn't want to presume to build based on that would cover all those types. And then even within, so if you say manufacturing, even if you're within that manufacturing, there could be 100 different ways of handling. Well, first of all, if you're doing something like pharmaceuticals, you're gonna that would probably be slightly different than if you're dealing with lumber. So how you manage those inventory pieces is going to be different. And I didn't want to create this generic thing that people would have to modify and then just have this legacy code that they wouldn't use at all.
Exactly, and just to even bring more complexity into it. You know, like with pharmaceuticals, you're dealing with lots. With fresh food, with any food product, you're dealing with lot control at the point of origin and the codes and so on that have to be in. I mean, there's a lot of different pieces to inventory. It doesn't sound that hard when you first start thinking about it. You know, when you first just, hey, yeah, we can deduct things from an invoice from inventory and you know, tell it to automatically reorder.
Right.
It's not that easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff.
It does. Yes. So in any case, this is a free file, and people can start their project. It's really meant to be a project starter. They still have to do some coding in this thing. And then if you scroll down below, what I have below are courses where I've done a deep dive into various topics. And as you can see on the order types or on storing quantity values, I have one on transactions. There's one on navigation. Navigation obviously is not just an inventory specific topic, but it's any database topic. And I wanted to do a deep dive on navigation because there's any number of ways that you could set up navigation for a software application.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes the needs of the client, you know, will dictate that. They may want to have everything hidden and just pop it out so they can see more screen real estate until the time they need to see it. Other people want to have it on the side, on the top, bottom. I mean, you know.
Yeah, there's a reason people chose FileMaker. They want that customization.
Yes.
So I want to provide them with that customization.
So you got your foundation bundle. You have the foundation inventory transactions, navigation, item valuation. That's what we were talking about a moment ago. Overviews, order types. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here, and I think you have more in the pipeline, don't you?
I do have more in the pipeline, and I really want to make this site more of a zero to hero kind of a thing, where somebody who, especially a business owner who says, or probably somebody within the organization who has been tasked with building their internal inventory system, and the person says, well, where do I go to find out more information? And that's what I want to turn this site into more of a, hey, if you're just starting, here's a 101 core series of courses, here's a 201, a 301, and I'm working on that right now. Okay.
Yeah, that's a real good plan of action, because when you're trying to do this kind of stuff, if you're the person assigned this, and I've heard this story probably 100 times now because I've interviewed a lot of people in the FileMaker community, and one of the things that they always are talking about is, you know, I went to work for somebody and they had a problem, and somebody threw a manual on my desk back in the day, it would be a manual, and said, here's the problem, use this tool, and the tool quite often was FileMaker. And that's how a lot of developers got their start, by the way. They opened it up and then found something they just fell in love with, and boom, that's what they did for a long time after that, once they paid their dues and got pretty good at it.
That's right. And I have found that there's a lot of stuff on the web now, and it's software manuals are harder to come by because software changes so often. And as we know, FileMaker has recently moved on an annual release cycle.
Yes.
So it would be very hard to have an updated paper book. Some people are doing it. Some people are doing it, and they do it very well.
They have to work fast.
You have to work fast. That's right.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, this is what we have. These two things. We have one other thing I'd like to talk about today. I mean, we have your inventory starter. We have the inventory resources. Two great things that you're doing. and a plan for you to do this. But I want to know how you got started in this idea, and some of the strategy, some of the marketing that you did. I talked about this on our first one. Nobody heard your answer because of the echo, where they heard it 5 times without being able to understand it, on each word. At any rate, you made the choice to go and do something a lot of developers don't do, and that is to research your market and then figure out a way that you could start building something that you could, do once and sell many times. That's a great thing to do. That's one of the smarter business school things you're going to learn, or in business coaching and stuff like that. Do it once and share it a lot of times, or sell it a lot of times. And that's something you need to do. You can't work for free. Nobody can do that. Well, very few can get away with it at any rate. So tell me something about that. What was your decision making? What led you to do this, and how did you do it?
I started as a professional FileMaker developer 11 years ago in 2007. It was a career change. Like many people, maybe many of your listeners, but many people, I was the same as many people. I was in a different industry. I was not in software, and I was introduced to FileMaker, just like you said a moment ago. And I was one of those people. Fell in love with it, used it as I moved around to different businesses, different positions. In 2007, I had a change of, there was just a change in my life, and I wanted to move into a different industry, and I liked FileMaker, and so I decided to pursue that as a career. And I did that for a while as a generalist. I would take any job that came. A lot of them had to do with project management or CRM kind of a thing, some educational pieces. But I wasn't satisfied with that. It's always, I wanted to move. I really wanted to push myself and push my business to another level. And so I had read and listened to some podcasts on marketing, and really heard this message about positioning. And it resonated with me. I don't think it resonates with everybody. I don't think it needs to resonate with everybody. I know several generalists who are filled to the gills with projects, and they don't need positioning. They're doing just fine. Thank you very much. So that's fine. It wasn't my case, and so I did need to do something. So I did that. I looked at positioning. I looked at a couple of different projects that I was involved in to see if I could do something. Inventory was one of those. It wasn't my first choice, but
what was your first choice?
My first choice was group management.
Okay.
In group management, if you think about organizations like the Knights of Columbus or the Eagles or the Rotary Club, usually those are international organizations that have groups in various locales, and those groups are often charged with doing certain activities for the community. And there's an overarching organization that keeps track of all that data. So one of my current clients is in that position, and I thought I could move into that position. So I did a little bit of marketing research. It didn't turn out like I expected. It was very helpful, but it didn't.
A smart move.
Numbers weren't there.
Right.
And so I also had done a couple of inventory management things, and so I thought, well, let me see if this would be an opportunity. And that's how I got started in that area.
Right. Oh, that's wonderful. And so then you learned some stuff about marketing on the web. Because you've got some fulfillment systems, you've got a funneling system, you trade a free FileMaker example file, a demo file, for somebody's email address, so you can keep them in the process. Of course, it's an opt-in thing, and an opt-out, which is a smart thing to do. It's actually pretty much required, I think, anymore. But you also have the fact that you're now able to educate them, send them a newsletter, which came out earlier this week. With new data, what's going on, new demos you might have, and new courses that are coming out, that kind of stuff, and build a little sales funnel. And I'm sure it's probably helped you with your business in terms of having more business for yourself, as well as selling these kind of products. So
Yes, yeah, that's right, Don. It has been again. This is started. Any business owner is always continually trying to find out how he or she can make the business better, and that's what I did with podcasts and books. And so email lists turned out to be a pretty big thing. I didn't have one,
right?
And the idea was that I have a service, and there are people who are interested in that service, but it's hard to find those people.
Yes.
It's hard to get in front of those people. There are interested people, but they are mixed in with billions and billions of other people. So how do I get in front of those people? And so one way is to cultivate an email list, and those are people who will say on their part, and I do it too. I'm part of email list as I opt in and I download other files. Right. I say, yes, I'm interested in what you provide, and I'll receive their information and their well, that's it. Yeah, and
that's how it works. Yeah, and I know you're doing other things too. You got videos online, YouTube.
Yes.
I assume you're doing some social media stuff.
I'm not.
Not? Oh, okay.
That's on my list, but I have not. I'm on LinkedIn, but that's the only social media I have, and that's a 2019 goal.
There you go.
And in fact, I have. I don't know if I should show all this stuff, but before DevCon, I went and I bought a bunch of stuff, and I was gonna vlog and put stuff on Instagram and then stuff didn't fit. And then I'd plug stuff in, and it wouldn't record, and it was just a mess. But
I've been there and done that. Trust me, because I spent I've been 3 times with camera equipment over there and trying to record, and sometimes things don't work as well. You have to make some fast adjustments. And on top of that, when you go to DevCon, you pay all that money. You want to go learn something. You spend all your time chasing down people to talk to and interview and stuff like that. Make notes about it and. It's hard because you're just so busy over there.
So I'm watching you, Don. I'm watching you as you're on Facebook and you're doing this thing where you're making an announcement on your phone, and I'm watching that stuff, and I'm thinking, hey, how is he doing this stuff? Come on, Shanahan, you got to get with the.
Yeah, I got a couple other people are notifying me too. They're reaching out on email and stuff. Are you using Ecamm Live? Is that right? Is that how you're doing this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I got a real marketing wizard that helps me named Robert Kwasny. He's a business partner of mine and a friend for about 7 or 8 years, and he's the one that digs into a lot of these things. He's the one that set me up last year when I was walking around with a Movi, I think that's what they call it, a Mevo. I forget what the name of it is, but with the remote cameras, we had the thing hooked up with I think it was a Verizon wireless data plan, so we wouldn't have to use the hotels, which is going to be overloaded all the time with FileMaker developers on the internet, and so on and so forth. There was a lot of moving pieces. In fact, he's got one now. He's going to a drone convention next week in Las Vegas, and he's got a little bitty, looks like a baby carriage with everything set up on it. It's not quite, but it's a baby carriage, but think of that. And then everything is set up on it with the camera mounted up so he can see it, all the stuff he needs to see. It's all set up to go online, and he's by himself. He can put microphones right on people, remote microphones on himself. He has one on them. He can put one so he can get good audio. It's good you can get on an exhibition floor, a room floor room. I don't know. Anyway, what I'm saying is all this stuff is tough. So when you want to try to do these kind of things and keep your business going, it's a challenge. Putting stuff on Twitter, you got to find the tools to help you automate that process so they go out the right time, because you can't always be the best time to put something on Twitter is this time of day, and Facebook that time of day, and so on. Well, you can't always stop what you're doing and do that kind of stuff. So there are some great tools out there. Be happy to talk to you offline about that sometime, because it takes work, but once you start figuring out the pieces, it just gives you a great presence online, and that's helped me a lot. So I just had somebody drop out. I had a developer had to drop out of something, and I had all these resources because all these people I've met. I just called up another one and said, "Can you step in and take over this project?" Boom.
Yeah.
In 20 minutes, I had my problem solved. So you get a lot of resources. You get a lot of stuff, at your fingertips, and you meet. The other great thing, you meet a lot of neat people.
You do. That's true.
Yeah,
That's very
I get
true.
to interview you. I got to meet you at DevCon. He's a nasty shuffleboard player, by the way. We were playing shuffleboard at the last night, was it? I think the last night of the
Yes.
thing, and Wednesday night, and they had this wonderful setup over there at DevCon where they had pool tables and they had ping pong tables and foosball tables and shuffleboard and a lot of other stuff too.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
FileMaker Inc. really, I think they outdid themselves. It was just really a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. That was a great night. That's the first time I've seen them do something like that. I hope they can maintain that. At any rate, I think that covers all our subjects today.
Yes, I would like to give one more piece, though, to the FileMaker Guru community, Don, and that is on these courses that I have.
Okay.
You can see all these prices here, but I'd like to extend a 25% discount through Friday, September 7th. So there's a week for people to take advantage of this discount, 25% on all of the courses. And to do that, there's a discount code, and that is all lowercase FMP Gurus 01.
Okay, so let me put that up there, 25% discount through 9/7/18, right? Is that correct?
That's right.
And then
FMP
Gurus.
Gurus 01.
01. Okay, so that's going to be the code right here. So if anybody's watching this through 9/7/18, you can go to his website, and that's to the inventory resources, right?
No,
FM Inventory Starter, excuse me. FM Inventory
FM
Starter.
Inventory
Let me
Starter,
put that one up there real quick. We'll show that again. There. And so now we have that right in the middle. FM Inventory Starter through 9/7, and use this code FMP Gurus 01. You'll get 25% off. Thank you very much for that. I hope you get a lot of sales from it. That would be a wonderful thing. I think that's all we have for today. Thanks everybody for joining us. Everybody that sees this, I will be putting this up on his website. He'll be having the video. I'll have this video up on my website. I'll have it up on YouTube as well. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a great Labor Day weekend. See you next time.
Thanks, Don.